6 days out, and the presidential race is tightening across the country and in several key battleground states. Today's CNN ORC poll shows Hillary Clinton up 2 points in Florida, Donald Trump up 6 points in Nevada, an Emerson poll has Clinton up 3 in Colorado and Trump up 4 in Arizona. And a race in our own backyard, once solidly in Clinton's column, is now flipped. At least in one poll, Trump has a 2-point lead in New Hampshire, 45-43. With all this volatility, one thing's for sure, it's the season of election anxiety. Last month's poll found 52% of adults reporting high levels of stress, a direct result of the presidential race. And if you've brought it up with your therapist, you are not alone. It's hard to feel confident that things are going to be okay when everything seems to change dramatically from day to day. It's even evident at the White House. Listen to what Press Secretary Josh Earnest said yesterday about the FBI director's handling of the Clinton email investigation and what the president himself said just today.
I'll neither defend nor criticize what Director Comey has decided to communicate to the public about this investigation.
I do think that there is a norm that, when there are investigations, we don't operate on innuendo, we don't operate on incomplete information, we don't operate on leaks. We operate based on concrete decisions that are made. When this was investigated thoroughly the last time, the conclusion of the FBI, the conclusion of the Justice Department, the conclusion of repeated congressional investigations was that she had made some mistakes, but that there wasn't anything there that was prosecutable.
So what do you think they'll have to say about it tomorrow? Joining me here, Lila Alphonse. She's managing editor for News for U.S. News and World Report. Good to see you, Lila. Scott Lehigh is a columnist at the Boston Globe. Great to see you, Scott, as well. President's singing a different tune today. My read into it is they're nervous because essentially this thing is getting closer and closer and closer. Is that a fair conclusion, do you think?
I would agree that they're nervous, but the reason that they're nervous, I think, really probably has very little to do with what's in the emails and more with the public perception of what could be. Remember that memo?
Well, that's what's driving it.
Yeah,
I mean, clearly.
The memo went out before he had a warrant to look at the emails. They don't even know, or at least at the time, they didn't know if the emails were to Clinton, from Clinton, had anything to do with Clinton,
or so
were
they
classified,
say. Carl
weren't
Bernstein
classified.
says, as you well know,
right,
that he never would have done the second thing had he not thought there was a bombshell in there.
Or had he not felt defensive about being told that he seemed to be in Hillary's pocket.
Should they be getting nervous? You see this Washington Post ABC poll on honesty and trustworthiness. This must kill you. Hillary Clinton is 8 points below Donald Trump. He's laughing nervously. You can't stand it, can you?
I actually am not that nervous. I mean, I don't think if you look at what they're doing around the country, what the Clinton campaign is doing, I don't think it reflects a sense that they can't win this thing, or that they're in trouble. They have got a solid 271, and what they're doing now is they're trying to take key states away from Trump. They're not trying to win states that they need to get over to, 269, to get to 270. They're trying to deprive him of more states so they can run up their kind of electoral college tally. And I think she's on her way to a substantial, not a huge, but a reasonably comfortable victory.
Well, that's what you think is going on in that campaign. Yeah. Tell me what's going on in the FBI. I mean, I know you've written a lot. We're going to talk about this in a minute, about what really was said by Comey and what it really means if people were looking at it clearly. Mark Rich today, 15 years ago, another President Clinton, well, the only President Clinton so far, pardons this fugitive financier, and 6 days before the election, the FBI regurgitates their file on this thing. What is the public supposed to draw from that?
I think a lot of the public, if you take into the account that a lot of people aren't really sure what powers the president has, aren't really sure about the checks and balances in our government, all of this just underscores what Trump has been saying about you can't trust the establishment, you can't trust the people who've been in power all this time.
But why did the FBI feel the need, even if that's true, why did the FBI feel the need right before the election to send something out that does potentially undercut the Clinton message? What's that about?
It's a great question.
A rogue agency?
Well,
what is it?
They're saying essentially that this is an automatic update in that their site had not worked, and now it works.
You buying that?
I am not a conspiracy theorist. I got to say, I think that when Comey made his original call, call. He made the right call, and you notice
On which? In July, you
No,
mean?
in July on her, not to recommend
Yeah.
prosecution. And all the conspiracy theorists in the journal, all crazy. He tanked this up. This was, blah blah blah. Bill arranged this when he met with Loretta Lynch on the tarmac. All that stuff. And I don't think that. I think what happened now, we came to this and Comey said, look, I need to let people know to protect the reputation of the Bureau. I don't think that was a good call, but I think that's what he did. Now you're watching all the people who had bought the first conspiracy theory that he was completely tanked and in the pocket of the
They're all
Clintons.
flipped.
Now
Everybody's
they've got to
flipped, of
come up
course.
with another theory about why all of a sudden he's doing the right thing. You listen to Trump, he sounds deranged. Finally, he's going to do a great thing. I'm so proud of the FBI. Wait. 2 days ago he was tanked, and now he's an honorable guy. What's happened here? So they have to come up with this incredibly contorted theory how inside the FBI the forces conspired in a way that would push him to do this.
Just by
Occam's
chance
razor,
that-
straight line. He felt like he needed to do it to protect the reputation
Pure
of the Bureau.
serendipity that Bill Clinton and the Attorney General happened to be on the same runway, right? Of
You
course they
wouldn't,
were.
but you wouldn't.
Okay, fine.
It
So you
doesn't
write
operate
this.
that way.
You did
Yeah.
a better job defending the Clinton campaign than they do today with your Clinton and the intent
Well, thank
test.
you, Jim.
Now, your theory, your argument in July is there's no intent here, and the argument for no intent is not only is no intent shown, but the volume suggests you could infer it from the volume, but it's small.
Piddly
How do
diddly.
you have any idea? You're essentially suggesting that's why we should be dismissive of the Friday announcement. How do you have any idea how many emails, if they relate to the investigation, he doesn't know? How do you know?
It would, because it's still what the people who think that this is going to get Hillary Clinton believe this. She is a horrid, foul person, and they just have to wait to find that one bit of evidence that shows that. I don't believe that about it. I think Hillary Clinton is a reasonably decent person who trims the truth some and is somewhat entitled and can be a pain in the tail sometimes, but is not a bad person. I don't believe you're going to find that evidence that she's done something horrible. This is going to fit the pattern of the other stuff. I don't believe that she and Uma were sending all kinds of secret things that you wouldn't have seen other places. I just don't think it'll be there. And it won't show intent, even if it is.
You know, Lila, I'm obsessed with this anxiety quotient thing. And by the way, there's even a more recent thing. There's a recent thing, the American Psychological Association or some such thing. 55% of Democrats, 59% of Republicans feel heightened anxiety, not in general, but because of this campaign. Does that play out in any fashion? I'm not quite sure what to do with that.
Play out
what does
after
that
the
mean?
election?
No, in the election. We're going to talk about after the
Okay.
election in 1 minute. Does that have any impact? Does it go any way, either way? Especially
I don't
since it's
think so.
bipartisan and fairly even?
I don't think it really goes anywhere either way. I think people recognize there's a lot at stake. I think a lot of people aren't quite sure what those things that are at stake are.
You don't
I mean,
think it's because they can't stand either of them? And they
I
say,
think-
even
I
if
think
my
they can.
candidate wins, I'm not crazy about him or
I
her
think a lot
either?
of people are voting against a candidate they hate more instead of for a candidate they like better. And I think that does cause some cognitive dissonance. You want the best person to run the country, but they feel like they're choosing between the lesser of two evils, when really it's more of a matter of choosing the candidate who can work with the Congress we have. I mean, whoever's at the top matters less than whoever's
That's where I
further
wanna go.
down on the ballot.
There's a rumor, by the way, that if Trump wins, you're going to Le Monde. Is that true? I just no. So you will refuse to confirm or deny it. So Adam Riley's going to address this in a piece in a couple of minutes. But I ask my first panel every night for the last week this question. Explain to me how either candidate governs. In light of the fact there's likely to be a split Congress, both of them are not trusted by 60% of the American people, 60 and 58, Clinton and Trump. Quickly, in 30 seconds, tell me how either of these people governs come January.
Things that need to get done always do get done in this country, and there are deadlines and sort of default deadlines, and that much will happen. Beyond that, I think it's going to be tough.
How about you?
I think it's going to be really difficult. I think Clinton would have to rely on her working with some of these senators herself as a senator. I think Trump, if he becomes president, would quickly find out you can't fire Congress and replace them with a different board.
Lila, it's nice to see you.
Nice to see you, too.
Thanks so much. We'll see you in Paris. Take care.
Thanks, James.
Scott Lehigh.